and it said, the dog can't be here, he needs to be stowed under a seat.
It is a story that got the nation talking. A blind man confronted on a flight. Passengers walking off the plane in protest. Tonight, though, we have the part you haven't heard, because the woman sitting right next to that blind man was a woman from right here in Pittsburgh.
And she saw everything that happened. Action News reporter Kelly Brennan tonight with her story, only on 4.
She doesn't call herself an activist of any kind, just someone who wants to help. We sat with Mary Elko Comfort in her Monroeville yoga studio, talking about what happened on a U.S. Airways flight last Wednesday from Philadelphia to Long Island, New York. She sat next to Albert Rizzi on that flight. He lost his vision 8 years ago because of meningitis. The flight attendant asked Rizzi to stow his guide dog Doxy under the seat, but where he was sitting in the back row, he didn't have a seat in front of him.
So I said, well, the dog can come under my seat. So I was grabbing my notebook, and I sat, all curled up like Indian style. And they were teasing me about being a yoga teacher that I could curl up in my seat. But Doxy's a pretty big lab, and the seats were really small, so we were cramming a big dog in a small spot.
Mary says the dog only came out to put his head between Albert's feet, never roaming the aisles. She says the flight attendant approached 2 more times, not offering to help, just barking the same orders.
And I said, look, I really don't know what to do. You're not giving me the tools to succeed here.
45 minutes on the tarmac, and Albert was then escorted off the flight.
What broke my heart is I heard Albert say, am I the only one getting off the plane? And he was the only one getting off the plane. And I spoke up and said, why are you taking him off the plane? And she said, he's arguing with me, the dog's in the aisle. And I admit to saying, you're lying. I was with him the whole time.
Minutes later, the nearly 30 passengers walked into the terminal behind him, saying they wouldn't fly without Albert and Doxy.
It was the worst 43 or so minutes of my life that turned into the most humbling, uplifting, empowering moment I have experienced since I first got my guide dog.
Reporting in Monroeville, I'm Kelly Brennan, Channel 4 Action News.
That flight was canceled. The passengers were then bused to Long Island.
And U.S. Airways did release a statement after the incident saying, quote, Mr. Rizzi became disruptive and refused to comply with crew members' instructions when the flight attendant asked him to secure his service dog at his feet. The airline is reviewing how the situation was handled.